All right, folks, it's another Friday in the land, and greetings to you. Welcome to the Journalist Hangout show. I'm Citizen Jones Hussein. Today on the program, APC chieftain Ibrahim Shekarau says President Buhari is breaking the law by keeping service chiefs. IG of police distances self from suit, seeking to stop NSAS judicial panels from sitting, whereas force legal officer, just as Governor Sanwo-Olu fulfills vow, gives 60 million naira to families of slain policemen. And later on, we'll share this with you. Fresh suit seeks to stop APC NEC, that's the National Executive Council's meeting, over membership registration, just as Chief Akonde resolves Aregbesola Oyetola misunderstanding. I'm hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju, the one they know as BKO. I greet you, Jide.
Good evening, Citizen.
Adewale Adeoye has not been here for a while. I greet you, Adewale.
Good evening.
Gentleman. And there's a gentleman, Tony Waje, the proud Niger Delta
Good evening,
boy.
Citizen
I greet
Jones.
you.
Without his cap.
No, Niger Delta, Lagos. You know.
Okay.
All right, so the team is ready. I hope you are. All right, then let's go. You know, in politics, a most difficult thing is the decision to act. The rest, as they say, is shared doggedness. An APC brass hat and former governor of Kano State, Malam Ibrahim Shekarau, a senator now, is belly aching. According to our man, by retaining the service chiefs who have served out the mandatory 35 years of service, President Commander-in-Chief Muhammadu Buhari is breaking the law. This is the position of many a Nigerian who have advanced the argument that in the face of the protracted offensive against insurgency, a change of guards is imperative. Former American First Lady Michelle Obama said, let me quote her, "You can't make decisions based on fear and the possibility of what might happen, Jide." End quote.
Yes, that quote applies both ways. It applies to the president as well as to those who think that it's about time that we let the service chiefs go. The president's reasons for holding on to them, Nigerians do not really know, but he has his reasons. Maybe he has some fears that he knows that we do not yet know, that convince him that at this time, these are the people that he can trust. So that speaks to the fear that Michelle Obama was talking about. And for Nigerians who want to see changes, who think that the service chiefs have passed their sell-by date, who think that given the rampant insecurity in our country, that there's a need for change, an urgent need for change. They have their fears. Their fears have to do with the possibility of even things escalating if we continue with the service chiefs. So this is the thing. So that quotation works both ways. The president probably has his fears about not removing these people at this time, and Nigerians to have their fears that things will get worse if we do not find a way to rejig the system and let those who have constitutionally, because people can argue that, oh, there is no law that fixes a time frame or tenure for service chiefs. Yeah. But there is a law that says you can't extend their tenure beyond once. The president extended their tenure, I think, almost 2 years ago or so.
Yeah. For
now,
a second term.
For a second term, I think, yes, the president extended it. Now, there's no law that permits him to do it a second time. He's extended it. So what he has done now is to simply keep quiet while Nigerians ask for change. But what Shekarau is saying is, even if there's no clear law that says the service chiefs shall spend so number of years in office. There is a law that says as public servants, just like police, as public servants, they are public servants, that they cannot, it's that once they are 60 years old
And they
have
clocked
clocked 35 years in service, they can go. There are people who clock 35 years in service when they are even in their early 50s, and they have to leave. That's what the law says. So what Shekarau is saying is that by holding on to these people for reasons best known to him, he is already in breach of the Constitution.
Okay.
That's what Shekarau is saying.
Wale, but there's a French proverb that I imagine is relative here. It says the more things change, the more they remain the same. These are not the normal times.
Well, the president, according to the Constitution, has the right to retain or remove the service chiefs. But the president is also there at the mercy of the electorate. So, irrespective of his powers, he must listen to the drum beats, to the echoes of the people. The National Assembly has passed resolutions, echoing the same thing about non-performance or declining fortunes in terms of performance of the service chiefs. No matter what we say, the fact is that more people are dying, more Nigerians are dying in tens, in hundreds. Life is becoming shorter.
No. More Nigerians are killed.
Are killed. Yes, are murdered. It's so many cases of avoidable deaths. Life is becoming shorter, close to being brutish. People are becoming more unsafe, and it also raises a fundamental question that when you are in power for 5 years, are there no programs for building of successors? Because the Nigerian Army is an institution, we believe there are a lot of capable hands, in that institution. So, we are not, personally, I don't think Nigerians are saying that the service chiefs have not performed. But when you notice a situation where more people are losing their lives and the situation appears to be getting worse, the demand that, okay, let's have a change of guard, I don't think it's out of context. So I think, like what Shekarau has said, that constitutionally, some of them have spent more than 35 years or about 35 years. Some are over 60. Yes. So that is time for us to have. So we can thank them for the work they have done, to try their best, and then let us have the opportunity to try fresh blood so that we can see how that will have impact on the security of lives.
Senator Shekarau is a homeboy, meaning he's an APC fellow, and you say politics is not an exact science. So the guy is not he's not trying to be politically correct. What's true is true.
Yes, just like the Senate some days back called on the president to. It's a Senate immediately constituted by APC members, but it was time. They were not looking at party affiliation. They feel this is the time to call on the president to act. People are being slaughtered. It's not a good story. And if it's affecting everybody. It's affecting the four corners of the federation. This is the time for the president to act. So I see a lot of people standing up to speak in national, in the pursuit of national interest, not for political reasons anymore. And I'm wondering when the president will act. I think this is the right time. This is the right time. The present crop of service chiefs, they served it. I think they've served.
So we have gone past the stage of, Mr. President's body language is
nobody's seeing that body language anymore. I think people are beginning to stand up and question, the situation because it has gone beyond party politics. The one that happened in Bono, for instance, I heard a lot of people from that side saying, "Thank God, for the first time, the country is standing in unison." It's been happening for a long time. If people are standing like, we shouldn't beg the president to do the needful. Except he's not watching, except he's not seeing what's going on in the country. If he's sitting down and watching like what you're talking about here now, and listening to, not watching television or listening to news. Listening to actually taking out something from it. He should know that this is the time. This is the time.
But you and I, all of us will know that in his quiet moments, Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief, would have a little something on the inside telling him, have we come to the crossroads?
Yeah. You see, it's not for the president to sit down and say, no, have we come to the crossroads? Nigerians are saying, we are at the crossroad. Yeah. You listen to the people, I mean, people voted for him. Yeah. Since 2015, these guys are fatigued, they're tired, without being told, because voluntary resignation is not in our DNA. Yeah. They can't do that, they'd rather be sacked. Because I know they are tired now. Every day people are calling on them to go. How would you feel if you're the chief of the army staff and you're watching television?
Not to say every Nigerian, it could have been you, know, but I remember that Adamu Suleiman was the first and only IGP to resign in his office under Shagari.
And that's a lot.
So not to say everybody in the country is bad.
No, tell me recently, except maybe Kemi Adeosun, probably I can't recall anybody voluntarily throwing the towel and say, I'm done. So this is even if the president is not doing it, I expect some of them, like the chief of defense staff who has spent 39 years in service now. So Mr. President, I think it's time for me to. Can't one of them just take the lead? It's not possible.
This is a season of conspiracies, and I trust Nigerians. They say, as they say in my EBPO country, if orange see me, I know, come down, something there inside. Are you saying there must be a little something the service chiefs are seeing Mr. President is not saying in terms of waiting day there? I hope my pidgin is not too strong for you.
Honestly, for me, I think the decision is for the president to make. Even if you think that, or even if you thought they were the best service chiefs of all time, it's possible that some of them are the best we've had in that position. But at some point, they have to go. The Yorubas will say, nobody can...
nobody lives forever.
Yes. You know, to the point that you even get, is a literal translation that I'm looking for now. You know, when you buy, you cannot use the word exhaustively. You can use your dress exhaustively. It begins to fade, and then you feel, let me dump this dress. You can use your shoe to the point that you start walking like a bow-legged person. You know, when the shoes don't chop alignment. Yeah. You know, your shoes don't chop alignment. Yeah. You will now be walking like a crab. You know, there comes that time when you are reluctant to let the shoe go. But if we apply it to what we are talking about, no matter how good these guys are, they can't be service chiefs forever. Even if the president wants them to be service chiefs forever, he will not get his wish. They can't be service chiefs forever. And the point, these guys have really, they've worked for their country. There are tremendous achievements to their name. By holding on to them at a point when clearly diminishing return has set in, the president is damaging the reputation of these guys. Because, look, it will get to a point that when you mention their names, Nigerians will just hiss. Meanwhile, these are people who have done so well. We can recall the achievements that they recorded after they took over.
Which earned them the post in the first place.
No, I'm not. It didn't really end them. I said the achievements they recorded after they became service chiefs. The changes that they caused to happen. You know, the way they stabilized the armed forces and even rejuvenated our guys, got them to begin to fight the way the armed forces should be fighting. Some of that were lacking during the Goodluck Jonathan years. It was a well-known fact that many times our soldiers would run away. In fact, it got to a point that the Nigerian defense minister was accusing Nigerian soldiers of being cowardly. And it led to brickbats between him, our own defense spokesman, Olukolade. You know, Olukolade had to say, oh, your own army gets recruited into Boko Haram. And the man said, no, your soldiers that run away from battle.
Wow.
No one can say that the army under Burate was running away from battle. The only time that I recall that they did something like that was in the Battle of Gaidam with Boko Haram in October or so 2015. And the chief of army staff warned them that you have the weapons to confront the enemy. If you dare run away from battle again, you'll be severely dealt with. So the point is they've done very well.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we could spend the whole program talking about the achievements of Burate, of Sadiq Baba, Abubakar, and others. But the point that we are making is, if diminishing return begins to set in, as it will set in on any individual, people who give presidents of USA, presidents of other countries tenures, it is because they know that at some point people will get tired of them. At some point, diminishing return will set in. And when diminishing return sets in, a man who used to be hugely popular can suddenly become unpopular and a hated figure.
All right, we have Monday reaching us from Minna, Niger State. We greet you, Monday. Good evening. Welcome.
Good evening, Citizen Jones.
I greet you, sir.
And good evening, the panelists.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, my own little contribution is that there's nothing we can do. If we like, let us shout ourselves hoarse. I don't think the president is ready to change these people. And then the unfortunate thing is that people keep dying. Not only that, not changing these people has sent very negative signals all over the country. After speaking to you, a lot of public officers who have reached their time to retire in the service are refusing to do so because of this terrible example that we are seeing from everywhere. And one of such persons I learned is the Accountant General, who has reached 35 years, is refusing to go. You can count a lot of other people, especially in public MDAs and all these things.
Yeah.
So that is the situation we have found ourselves. We are now left with only prayer. Thank you very much.
Prayer. Here we go again. Wale, you know, they say there's always room for improvement. Have you heard that?
Yeah.
But you know that room is always at the top.
Yes.
And when you are president of a country at a time like this, do you know you are alone?
Yeah.
When it comes to decision making, you are alone.
Well, if you want to choose to be alone, you can be alone.
Yes.
But if you choose to consult with people and then to feel the pulse of the people,
You have advisors.
you have advisors, honest advisors, you will end up taking informed decisions. Like Gide said, I was in Maiduguri and I stayed with some people. That was late last year. And they were telling me that, look, security has improved. That in fact, at a point, you couldn't, evening prayers, you have to stay at your home. And you will hear gunshots. That even children in Maiduguri, they could make a difference between AK-7 and pistols. You know, because of the sporadic shots everywhere, you know, in Maiduguri metropolis. And that assassination of clerics, of, you know, it was common.
Stopped.
And if you look at it, you know, the Maiduguri airport, you know, it was closed for a very long time.
Yes.
But now you have people going to, you know, entering, coming out. And so there is no doubt that it has improved under them to some extent. Even in terms of the ability of Boko Haram to network beyond Borno State. You know, it's very difficult for them. Before they used to even operate in Abuja and all that. But the problem is that if you don't leave when the ovation is loud, you may have to leave when the ovation is at the lowest ebb. And if it's at the lowest ebb, I think you just have to leave because it's going to get worse. I think now Nigerians are anxious. They are desperate to see drastic changes. They don't want to listen to any excuse. So, you know, a good coach, you may have been winning goals and all that, but when you start out, nobody wants to remember your history any longer.
And you know, in soccer, since you have introduced, in soccer, goals determine the outcome of matches, nothing else. You might be a fine dribbler if you don't score.
Because he mentioned a coach, because he mentioned football now, I'm going to recall something that happened some time ago. The 1986 World Cup. Morocco went with a Brazilian coach,
Oh,
Jose Faria.
yeah.
Jose Faria did so well with Zaki Badu, Mary Crimo, and the rest of them. He took Morocco to the second round, and they lost to a 9-minute free kick by Germany's Lothar Matthias. Because of that, because African teams had not succeeded for a long time in getting into that stage.
Okay.
You know, so the King Hassan of Morocco gave him a national honor. He gave him a national honor, and he was so happy. He said, okay, he was going to convert to Islam. He became a hero because he took the country to the second round of the World Cup, what African countries had been struggling to do. And he said something there. He said, we may never be able to achieve this feat anymore.
And
you know,
looking back,
now,
right?
let's go on. I'm heading somewhere. He retained this job. By the 1988 African Cup of Nations that Morocco hosted, Maroc 88 was what it was called then, the performance of Morocco was woeful. They had to send him packing. He became someone that Moroccan, because they were thinking that they were going to host to win.
Yeah.
That's the thing about leaving when the ovation is loudest. If he had left immediately after that World Cup, when he took the nation to that second round of the World Cup and lost narrowly to Germany, you know, then remember that Germany got to the final of that year's World Cup. 1986. 86.
Okay.
I'm referring to 86. Played Argentina in the final, lost 3-2.
If you like, played
Maradona, yes, the pocket battleship as it was called. So if he had left at that time, he would not have become a pariah before Moroccans. Some of them felt like killing him.
It's a hard fact of life. Tony, please, how do you reconcile the statement credited to the army chief when he talked about Boko Haram, insurgency, and 20 years?
Terrorism.
Was he quoted out of context? Because we have no right here to think for the man.
I don't think because he is yet to refute it. So I don't think he was quoted out of context. Until he does so, I want to take it on that level that he said so.
He didn't even say will. He didn't use the word will. He said it could.
It could, yes.
And he gave conditions that must be in place to ensure that that doomsday prophecy
never comes to yes. I was expecting a reaction from the Nigerian Army Public Relations Department refuting that statement, because Nigerians will like reacting to headlines. A lot of people will not go into the details of that story. So they're going to take it hook, line, and sinker the way it appears at the front pages. For me, I don't think the Chief of Army Staff would have think in that direction, because Nigerians would not, at this point in time, this critical moment in nation building, nobody wants to hear that kind of, not now that Nigerians are even saying it's enough, you guys should go. So he dare not say that. Then I read it, and I don't think that's what he impugned. But the fact remains that the time has come for them to exit the stage. The time has come. There's no excuses whatsoever, because they are retarding the career growth of officers in the Nigerian army. Some people are retired prematurely because they cannot even attain any height anymore, because some people are sitting at that particular level. I remember a lieutenant general that is still struggling with Buratai to be on that same, because he has to, the director of operation, Nigerian Army and all that. So at a point, I think, even if the president doesn't want me to go, I can go to Mr. President and say, Mr. President, can I go? Can I go? Somebody should take, that's what I want them to do, because the president, for me, I don't think Mr. President is going to do anything. No matter, this is not the first time the Senate is talking about it. Nigerians have spoken, everybody has, and this is about 3 days now, and there's still no action. In some clients, by now the president is acting. They've done their best. Nobody can take that away from them. But it's time.
People, Gideon's people, Tony's people, and your people would say it is sheer idiocy to sleep under a roof that's burning. There's fire on the roof, and you are so spirit-filled to sleep under it. What do I mean? Look at what happened in Ondo State the other day. A frontline Oba was killed in cold blood.
Yeah.
And on those Edo State, there was a kidnapping, which you cannot rationalize. So
They will block the highway in Edo State.
Wahala day ground.
If there's anything more than wahala, I think that is the appropriate
You
word.
want me to spell it?
Because it is becoming a national problem that no place is safe. Even Cross River State that used to be so quiet. The first time I went to Calabar was told the ministers come and let us be at rest.
Yeah.
Calabar. But today, the stories we hear from Calabar, from Uyo, from Enugu, from everywhere, Ondo State, Ekiti State, agrarian societies, farmers, we are seeing cases of kidnapping. And look, there are so many stories that are not even reported in newspapers.
Yes.
I got calls from rural communities in Kogi State, Egbe, Kogi, Ogbe, Ogo.
No, mention that
People are going to the market, going to Egbe from Ogbe. They shot a young man, 31 years old, and then shot another medical doctor. That boy died. About 50 women were robbed,
And these are
moving from one community
Yes.
to the other. You know, so we
You
get
are
this
not
report
having this
from,
before.
you know, so everywhere is becoming,
So
even rural communities.
let's fire on the roof. Let's fire on the roof.
So it's a big
And
problem. Beyond changing the service chiefs,
Yeah.
there is systemic problems,
Oh, yeah.
you know, that are so that are so serious that we must not just be talking about changing service chiefs. There are other
after
fundamentals
the
that we
service
need to address.
It's because, see, if not because of the near collapse of security in our country, nobody will be talking about service.
Yeah.
People must understand why these agitations are happening. Because they think that, look, these guys cannot do better than they are doing at this time. And we've seen in football where a team is faced with an imminent
Defeat.
demotion, and then they think, oh, the best thing is to change the coach, and they change the coach, and then you see them start doing well.
Yeah.
There are many examples like
Okay,
that.
let's take this home finally. You know, the mark of the man, and to our dear service chiefs, we love you. The mark of the man is knowing when to apply the brakes. Thank you. We'll take this commercial break and return. Please don't go.